you, but welcome to Soul Burger, home of the Soul Burger. Can I take your order? Right? Ab Soul releases his highly anticipated album, Soul Burger, this Friday, November the 8th. And, I gave it a good three spins, right? I'm already three spins in. Listen to it in the gym, listen to it in the car, listen to it again in the gym. So I feel like I've really been able to dissect this album and just kind of see what Soul is talking about. And I appreciate this album. I think this is a good album. I heard Joe Budden saying that this is a cult classic. I feel like Herbert is more of a cult classic. And when you think about cult classics, you think about cultural classics that might not have the accolades as some of the mainstream classics, but everybody in the culture knows it, respects it, and relates to it. And I don't think that this is that album. So I wouldn't say this is a cult classic. I think this is a good album, right? This is a good album. This is a good follow up to Herbert, right? He gave us a little bit more energy on this album. But the thing with the energy, when you're trying to gain that commercial success, when you're trying to reach that mainstream marker, you lose a little bit of your soul, right? And he's Ab Soul, and I feel like he gave us the energy, but it came at the sacrifice of the spirit. It came at the sacrifice of the soulfulness that he gave us on Herbert. So he did give us the upbeat, up tempo type of stuff that a lot of people was asking for him. You know what I'm saying? And I can't knock him for doing it. I can't knock him for trying that because he's a great artist. He's a great lyricist. Why not try to exceed the expectations? Why not try to take that risk? Right? Because this is a risk-taking album. This is something out of his wheelhouse. This is something that he's never really done before. But this is something that, the people that listen to Ab-Soul, this is something that the fan base can appreciate. Now, his authentic, from the ground up fan base, they might not love it, but he gave us the lyricism. So how can we be mad? We just lost a little bit of the soul. So the Soul Burger, it didn't have enough seasonings in it, right? It came with all the dressings, with the bacon, the cheese, the tomatoes, lettuce, and pickles, and mustard. It came with the bread with a little bit butter on it. It came with the sesame seeds on top and the curly fries with, some ketchup on the side. It came with all the dressings, bells and whistles, but the taste, the flavor, I believe it wasn't as good. So this is a good album, right? But I feel like we lost a little bit in this album because he was trying to do a little bit more commercial, right? And then we talk about 9 Mile. This is the introduction track, right? This is the introduction. However do you want it? However do you need it? And then he blended that instrumental up with the Shook Ones. And if you watch the movie 8 Mile, he approached it like when Rabbit did his verse going against Clarence. when he went up against Papa Doc. This is what Ab-Soul did. He kind of talked about himself as a junkie, as somebody that used drugs, but as somebody that used drugs was able to be used to deliver this message through rap. Bucko Jr., Birdman Jr., he paid homage to the greats. He paid homage to Eminem with 9 Mile, 8 Mile. Bucko Jr., he paid homage to Wayne. And that last verse, he really gave you that Wayne flow. That last verse on Bucko Jr., right? I had to listen to it a couple of times to understand what he was actually trying to do. And I think he did Wayne justice. I think he did Wayne a great service. So Bucko Jr., Birdman Jr. And then when you go to the last track, Kendrick gave us Mortal Man. Ab-Soul gave us Righteous Man. So you can tell the people that he respect, the people that he hold in high regard, Eminem, Wayne, and his friend, his co-star, Kendrick Lamar. So, just to pay homage to those greats and just to show them love musically. And to be honest, he might have did that a little bit more throughout this album that I wasn't aware of. Cause he did Sky's the Limit, with Blast. And it sounded like he was doing a little bit, homage to Biggie. So, like at the same time, he paid homage to the greats. And when doing that, that song will take new life. That song will take new direction, and it will be able to stand alone. It won't be just a song on the album. It will be one of those songs that we're gonna listen to and compare to the 8 Mile and compare to the Birdman JRs and compare to the Mortal Man Kendricks. You know what I'm saying? So I think he did a good job at doing that as well. But I'm disappointed that there were no Black Hippie appearances. I'm disappointed that we didn't get Kendrick on this album. I'm disappointed that we didn't get J Rock on this album. I'm disappointed that we didn't get Schoolboy Q on this album. Right? And not that Schoolboy Q or J Rock would have done anything to elevate this album, but I believe the chemistry that they would have been able to match with Ab Soul would have been something that he kind of would have needed to give it that commercial success that he was trying to get. And without the presence of Kendrick, the same thing. We say, Cole, what are you doing for the people in Dreamville? But Kendrick, what are you doing for the people like J Rock? And which Kendrick has done a lot for J Rock. I feel like he's done a lot for Schoolboy Q, but for Ab Soul, who's trying to reach that platform, that's trying to reach that pedestal, I believe not that he owes him, but it's his turn to shine some light on him, and he shined some light on him through the pop out, right? He shined some light on him throughout that battle, but to have a verse from him on this album, or just some type of ad lib or some type of feature in some form, shape, or fashion, I think this would have been a great upstart for Ab Soul in trying to conquer the commercial and the mainstream, hurdles that he's looking at. Because some of these hurdles he wasn't able to jump over. Some of these obstacles he wasn't able to outmaneuver because that cohesion, right? It didn't have that cohesion to me, right? That Herbert had. Herbert all the way through. It had that replay value. See, like I said, it's going to be a couple of songs that we might go back to, but the album from beginning to end, like, to me, that's what attracts me to an album. If you can capture me from the beginning to the end through every track and just make it sound so good, make it flow so well, that's something that can garner my attention. But I feel like Ab Soul, the cohesion, it was kind of a little bit off because he was going into the high energy songs, numbed it down, and then it lost its pizzazz, it lost its mojo. You know what I'm saying? It lost its moxie because when he was trying to bring it back up, I don't believe it got back up there to complete that cohesiveness, to complete that connection. Right? It just went up and kind of went down and then rise back up and give us that heartbeat, right? I look at an album as a heartbeat. Sometimes you got the lows, but it got to come back up to keep that heart beating, to keep you still engaged. And that's this is a long album review, but this is how I feel. This is what I think. Absol, you could have did a little bit more. You gave us the energy, but you forgot the soul. Right? You gave us the excitement, but you forgot the enlightenment. And that's what I needed to overcome. That's what I needed, like, to resonate with. That's what I needed to really, like, buy into this album. And I didn't get it. I feel like that first listen and the second listen was cool, and then the third listen, that was just more forced. Like, that was more forced because I was ready to get back to Freddie Gibbs. I said I wasn't going to compare. But, like, that's the replay value. That's the cohesion that I kind of need in these albums, and I just didn't get it. But salute, Ab Soul. Appreciate you, Ab Soul. Thank you, TDE. Thank you for the album, regardless of how I feel about it. I feel like it was a good album. To me, it just wasn't great. And to me, when we look at it and compare it to the last album, Herbert, I feel like it fell short of that mark. But it was a good follow-up, only because it didn't go too far down, because we kind of understood the assignment and understood what he was trying to do with this album, but it just didn't hit the same markers that it was supposed to hit with the attempt, right? He tried it, but the attempt kind of fell short. You know what I'm saying? He didn't hit the bullseye, but he kind of hit like around the white area, close to the bullseye, but not too far outside of it to where he gained 0 points, right? He was close to the bullseye. He was close to the 100. But I would say this is like a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for Ab-Soul. And I would give Herbert more of an 8.5 out of 10. So when I compare those two albums together, this is kind of what I'm looking. So it's kind of like a 1-point drop off. Not a big drop off, but this is a drop off for the hip hop heads, for the people that really love Ab-Soul. We know what he was trying to do, but I don't think he fully accomplished it.